Hello, everybody. So I am done listening to the full conference call for Enphase's Q1 2023 earnings. And as I noted in my video this morning, the stock was mostly down because they're signaling a flattish quarter to come, another flattish quarter. So they pretty much had a flat quarter. This quarter, this is Q1 right here, and next quarter they're guiding from something pretty much flat. And of course, this stock is valued a lot on future growth, and so the stock re-rated on the market. And I think that was the main disappointment. And as we know, Wall Street typically cannot see past 3 to 6 months. And in this video, I just want to talk about the call, and full disclosure, I bought some more stock because after listening to the call, I saw no red flag. I mean, it's clear to me that the opportunity is still intact. They're just going through a slowdown, and that slowdown is through none of their fault. The slowdown has most to do with interest rates and NEM3. That's what the slowdown is all about. And so, external factors, plus the company is investing heavily. So let me just go through the call, take us through the call, just a whole data dump of the call for you all here. So I'll get started with, first of all, gross margins. They're up. That should be celebrated. I mean, this is a nice up. They're at 45.7%, up from 43.8%. They're up, and my guess is they'll keep going up, especially as they start getting subsidies from the IRA. That would be my guess. The revenue in the USA is down 9% quarter over quarter, due to the interest rates, right? Interest rates are no good in the US right now, and so a lot of lenders are not lending capital, and you can't sell solar installs because lenders are not lending as much capital as they used to. Revenue in Europe, however, is still doing amazing. I mean, think about that. 25% quarter over quarter. I mean, annualize that, right? That's crazy. That's crazy if you annualize that. Quarter over quarter is still 25%. You almost wonder if they keep growing like that in Europe, this may become a more European business than anything. Anyways, this is very interesting. 25% quarter over quarter. This is a major win for this company. Tripled year over year. Revenue in Europe have tripled year over year. This product is very, very popular in Europe. In Latin America, it's flat. I mean, it's down 2%, but I call it essentially flat, but still up year over year 70%. And in Australia is the most mature solar market in the world. In Australia, the revenue is up quarter over quarter 6%. So if you analyze that, it's quite decent. It's quite nice. It's still growing nicely in Australia. So the problem is the US. The problem is interest rates in the US. They're down, and thus, since analysts are located in the US, we have a tendency to think, it's everything so bad because we're not doing too well in the US right now. Noteworthy that the company invests heavily in R&D. Badri said on the call that 2023 will be the year of innovation for Enphase. And so 98 million in Q1 in R&D, and that's going to keep going up. They're going to keep investing in R&D. Enphase ended the quarter with $1.78 billion in cash, and cash from operations, extra cash this quarter was $234 million. So nice. I mean, it's a profitable company as far as cash is concerned, and which is what I care about. This company is not running out of cash anytime soon. Bankruptcy is not a risk in my view. They have positive cash flow, which is great. Now let's go with the strategic updates in the call. So IQ8 microinverters now make 65% of shipments. They hope to get close to 90% of shipments by the end of 2023. These are their more powerful inverters that work with all sorts of panels that installers may choose, including more powerful panels. They started shipping out a newer version that's 384 watt peak right now of microinverters, which is quite a lot. And their battery shipments are down. But much of a reason why the battery shipments are down is because installers, first of all, they've prioritized solar installation to take advantage of NEM3. Right, and NEM3 running out in California, so they've sold and upsold a lot of solar without batteries, and also there is a wait going on for the next gen of IQ batteries, which should be released in the second half of 2023. And so installers, because batteries are an add-on that you can add to an Enphase system at any time, it's likely that some customers are waiting to add on batteries to their system at a later date. Their Romanian factory opened for Europe successfully. They have a global capacity across all of their factories that they have with this company called Flex. With Flex Manufacturing, they have a capacity of 6 million microinverters per quarter. They're opening with a new manufacturing in the US due to the IRA incentive. They're opening a bunch of facilities in the US. They're hoping they're going to go from 6 million per quarter to 10 million per quarter capacity. So again, impressive growth in the numbers of products manufactured. This is eerily similar to Tesla, who's like ramping production, and worrying about demand later. This is a company that does the same thing. This is a company that is very confident in its product and confident in the superiority of a product. They're also working on installer updates for the software that installers use, as well as on updates to the interface for users for selling back electricity to the grid under the NEM 3.0 rules. And so that system, of course, needs to have AI and machine learning to make sure that you use your electricity most of the time to power your home, but whenever there is a prediction of a peak electricity, you take that charge, you save that charge, and you pour it back into the grid and get paid up to $3 per kilowatt hour, which is the NEM3 is not the end of battery as a grid per se. NEM3 is monetizing export periods of electricity at very high rates when it is needed the most. And in the case of California, because this company is like in California, and everybody seems to ask about California for this company, in the case of California, those months are August and September. So NEM3 would make battery as a grid a silly idea for most of the year, aside from August and September, where they can pay you more than 10 times the going rate for that electricity that you're feeding back into the grid. That's why the CEO is so bullish on NEM3, because he believes that will help them sell many, many more batteries, which is a big deal, I believe. So then the sell-through, they've had a decline in the sell-through at their distributors. So what that means essentially is that their distributors right now in the US, and this is a US problem, they have quite a bit of stock. And so you don't have to wait anymore. They have quite a bit of stock. And of course in Europe, the demand is still very, very tight and still very, very strong. But in the US, in the case of the US, the product is now in stock. This is what this means. And we can expect, because of that, a further slowdown in orders in Q2 because the product's in stock. So the distributors are not going to reorder the product. They have to sell through, and the sell-through has been slow. So sell-through is a way for them to kind of predict future demand, if that makes any sense. They sell most of their products not directly, but to distributors, and they recognize revenue when the products are shipped to the distributors. Installers have some issues right now, but one of the bigger issues, which is the theme of this call, is they need to adjust to a higher rate environment. They need to adjust to new financing environment in reality. And some installers, especially the smaller installers, have issues because a lot of loan providers are not providing cash at signing anymore. So that means that the velocity of projects, the number of projects they can take on, is much lower, because there's no cash at signing, because lenders are a little more worried about lending right now. And therefore, there's installers that were doing a lot of projects that now have to do less projects because they have to wait closer to installation deadline until they get the money, and that slows them down. The capital cycles not as fast through the company, and that was a very interesting take as to why also the growth rate of solar is taking a hit in the US. Is yes, if working capital is an issue for these installers, obviously they're not going to be able to turn around projects as fast because they need to wait for one project to be done before they have a capital to start buying, prospecting, buying the supply, etc. It just makes sense. But Badri believes that lenders will adjust. This industry, it's not its first rodeo. It's been through the ups and downs on solar are actually a very common thing, and people in the solar industry are used to these ups and downs, and they will find a solution to this, is what Badri says on the call essentially. 2023, the year of new products. They have new products coming. They have a green self-consumption EV chargers where you can make it so that it's the solar on your roof who directly charges your battery and without having to go through the home battery. So interesting play. The 5 kilowatt hour modular IQ battery is a big deal. They're very excited about that battery. That means that you can have homes that have up to 20 kilowatt hours, and that's essentially taking a very big house off grid if you have 20 kilowatt hours of battery. So these batteries are much more powerful than prior batteries, which is exciting. Their new IQ8P microinverters is very exciting as well, with 480 watts, and the IQ8P they hope to release in the end of 2023, and this will be a microinverter that can work for large panels. And so Badri was saying, we're going to have a very compelling offering for small commercials, like solar panels on a church or solar panels on a gas station. They're going to be very compelling to those entities because of that bigger microinverter. And of course, this is very exciting to the IRA because they get 11 cents per watt. So that's going to be very exciting to them. Moving on, the CEO reminded that the strategy and the opportunity has not changed. The 30% tax credit is going to go on for the next 10 years. So for the next 10 years, if you install solar on your home, you're going to get a 30% tax credit. This is a major tailwind for the whole industry, rising all boats in the whole industry, right? The utility rates are rising across the country very fast, faster than inflation, I would argue, and certainly faster than interest rates, at least interest rates as they're going to rise from now. So rising utility rates, if utilities get in the habit of raising interest rates every year by 20 to 30%, people are going to switch. And also remember, if you have a long-term contract with a utility, these rates come up for renewal all the time. And if they come up for renewal at a much higher rate, that leads people to switch. The utility rates is very important to switching to solar, because solar is often sold by looking at your bill, your electric bill, and saying, we're going to eliminate that bill. And by eliminating the bill, you would hope that it shows a high bill. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy for utilities. As they keep raising rates, they make solar much more interesting. Badri, and he said that multiple times on the call, he said that there is a desire for solar. People may think it's cool. People like the independence. I definitely think it's cool, and I like the independence. People doing for saving money. To me, saving money is the biggest reason why someone would get solar. These are products that save you money. That's my biggest appeal to it. And some people do it for the planet, which is the initial appeal of solar, is you do it for the environment. So all of these tailwinds are still there. Solar plus storage plus whole holistic systems really is the future, and I fully agree with that vision. That is the vision that I have. I mean, it has become obvious to me since I've been covering Enphase on this channel, and they differentiate themselves with high quality products and strong customer experience. So, for example, their microinverters have a 25-year warranty, which is high. Most string inverters, that major, very big inverter you put on the wall, that typically only has a 12-year warranty. So they put quality and customer experience forward. In the Q&A, what else do we learn? Well, the executive team is fully focused on batteries. They're going through the learning curve. Second-gen batteries are getting better every day. Third-gen batteries, which is those that they're going to release at the end of this year, hopefully, they're going to have double the power, triple the peak power. So this follows all of the cost improvement curves that I keep showing on the channel whenever I cover solar. Batteries getting much cheaper. The cells are a commodity type product that is getting cheaper and cheaper and better as we go forward. The CEO noted, and this noted that many times before, and I've calculated that in the field. He's noted that a payback for solar plus battery system right now, if you buy it from an installer, as a customer, your payback is going to be between 6 and 8 years. And that depends on your utility rates. And my take on this is that not only does that depend on your utility rates, but that also depends on the interest rate that you get on the loan if you get a loan. Or if you get a loan at all. It also depends on batteries and solars getting better, right? Because solar panels are getting better, taking in more and more energy. Batteries are getting cheaper and cheaper. So as we go through time, through the years, this is going to be even more compelling, taking that payback down, way down. And grid electricity prices go up. all of these factors help the payback go lower. And I think to me the 5-year mark payback, which is what it used to be when rates were lower, that 5-year payback is the ultimate selling point, right? You're an installer, you go see a customer, and you're like, okay, this is a 5-year payback. You're going to make 20% a year on your money. Oh, and by the way, it's essentially risk-free. All you have to do is put solar. I think it's a very, very compelling proposition. It's the underlying factor behind solar, right? The underlying tailwind of solar is that it is a superior technology. It is a step change in technology. Anyways, moving on. What else? NEM-free. NEM-free is an opportunity for California in the long run. The CEO has been saying that for the past 3 quarters. Analysts still keep asking about NEM-free. Analysts seem to disagree on that. It's fine. One can be skeptic, but I do believe the future is really upgradable batteries. You get your batteries. Your batteries is your own way to store your own energy, and you can add on more batteries later on as you scale. Like if your family gets bigger and you need more energy, you can add more batteries. Or your battery gets a suck on the electric car. Your family gets a suck on the electric car. You can add more batteries. Another point of batteries is they develop batteries in conjunction, of course, with electric chargers, and we see the progress with a more powerful chargers. For a more powerful charger to happen, for you to be able to charge an electric car in, say, 5 minutes, you need to have very large batteries behind that system. So that's also part of the future. I believe some people are going to want to charge their cars in 5 minutes. And to do that, you're going to need more batteries because you can't pull up enough electricity from the grid to do that in 5 minutes. So anyways, CEO also says that typically there's a lot of demand for battery cells and demand for resilience, for energy resilience in California in August and September. He pointed out that blackouts in California in August and September are a recurring thing, which is interesting. Prices are stable, not up or down. They're not touching their prices. The prices are just what they are. They're just stable. Analysts ask about competition. There's a lot of competition out there. CEO says, we're used to competition. This is an old field, solar now. This field started booming in 06, 07. So they're used to the competition. CEO says there's no change in how much competition there is, no more than before, but no less than before. And Enphase is doubling down on strategy, which is to make a highly differentiated solution, a holistic solution, that is, where they handle everything. Distributed architecture, that means, for example, and that's a big selling point of microinverters, that's why I believe microinverters are in the future. For example, if you have a solar system and you have a string inverter, if your string inverter breaks for any reason, and they have typically a 12-year warranty. So if your string inverter breaks, you're out of energy for however many weeks. You can find an installer to replace that string inverter. If an Enphase microinverter breaks, which, that can happen, but they have a bigger warranty up front, right? They give you a 25-year warranty on the product. If that breaks, you only have one panel that stops producing energy. And so that improves the reliability. With the Enphase system, every single panel is treated as its own independent power station or power unit. So again, I think the product is superior. I've covered this in the channel before, but feel free to go on YouTube and look at debates of microinverters versus string inverters. It's a big debate in the industry, but to me they've won. To me their solution has won that debate. The standard is going to be microinverters. At least that's my belief. Otherwise, I wouldn't own the stock. I would not own the stock if I didn't believe that. Okay, they have a focus on customer experience. They're proud of their NPS score. They're proud of their call centers. The CEO said proudly, whenever a customer has a question, we respond right away. So that's kind of Amazon strategy here. Always please the customer. Always make sure the customer is happy. The customer is the king, essentially, and you need to cater to the customer. Competition. The competition is cutting prices right now, but Enphase is not. Again, very similar to a lot of what we see in other industries. Enphase explains their product is more desirable. Their product is cheaper to operate over the long run. They stress repairability of a product, right? For example, if you have a battery, the Enphase batteries, they use Enphase microinverters within that battery instead of a full 3K inverter overall. Well, that's much more repairable. That has a lot of advantages. You can just switch apart. You don't have to switch the whole wall inverter unit. Again, micro inverter, core to this business. Again, the analysts keep pressing on the problems and the business problems, and Badri reiterated the big problem is what? It is APR. APR loans are high right now. And because those loans are high, that's a lower demand. He also stated NEM3, repeated himself here. And he also stated that Q1 was typically the weakest quarter. I actually pointed that out in my earlier video of Enphase when I looked at their revenue. It is true that Q1 is always the weakest quarter. So this is not impression management. This is true. Q1 is the weakest quarter in that field. CEO reiterated, you have to provide a complete holistic solution. Solar, batteries, EV chargers, and heat pumps. This is the first time I have heard the CEO of Enphase refer to heat pumps. So I'm curious about that. Why did the CEO refer to heat pumps, following solar, batteries, EV chargers? So is this a market that they want to get into? I don't know. I find it curious that this was mentioned. Clearly, they've been watching Tesla. Clearly, they've been following Tesla, and they know Tesla is all about the heat pumps. So anyways, question from analyst again. What are you doing with your cash? Classic question here. Badri answers, number one, we're going to use cash to ramp manufacturing. Makes sense. IRA is the biggest opportunity. Number two, we're going to need cash if we see M&A, opportunistic M&A. Not a big fan of this, but their acquisition of Clipper Creek was actually pretty smart when they acquired the leading charger of cars. So we'll see, but typically not a big fan of M&A personally. And number three is for buybacks if they view the stock as trading below intrinsic value. Again, this is a very standard question from analysts on calls. They always ask a question like this. So now you know the capital allocation and what capital allocation the CEO, Badri, has in mind. Question about guidance. The usual, why is guidance so low? Badri says, the guidance is actually pretty conservative. We're conservative. And, who would blame them? Who would blame them? Because they've achieved their guidance this Q1, and the stock was punished 25%, 26%. So who would blame them for being conservative? I think it's good that they're being conservative. My own conclusion after the call, and the call, there's a lot of parts of the call where they repeat themselves. Like I can't remember how many times they ask about NEM3. They keep asking about that. Anyways, my conclusion is, I think the market is ignoring, a lot of people are ignoring the US manufacturing ramp because it's more than 3 months away. Analysts, not that I saw, I didn't see any IRA questions or at least any very relevant IRA questions. And I wish they had asked about it because part of my thesis, of course, is that the IRA provides for an 11-cent subsidy per kilowatt hour in a microinverter. That would mean that the current IQ8 would get a $42 subsidy when coming out of a US manufacturing line, and the IQ8P would be coming out with a $52 subsidy when coming out of a manufacturing line. The IQ8P is the product we are currently developing. So, and keep in mind, as a reference, wholesale, like if you buy a bunch of them, wholesale microinverters, they go for a tad above $100 a piece wholesale. That is, to the best of my ability, that is what I can say. Installers are being charged. If you're a smaller installer, charge a little more. If they're a bigger installer and have a lot of volume, they can get close to, between 110 and 120. So significant. This would cover a significant portion of their manufacturing costs, in my view. Major catalyst. I believe the stock market right now is being short-term on this one. I believe it's short-term. Yes, Q2 is not going to be too good per what I see, but they can't see past the next quarter. And so I would expect weakness, over the next few months, maybe 6 months stop. Like before we hear about Q3, I would expect some weakness. But to me, the thesis has not changed. The opportunity is still very real. And I typically put money where my mouth is. I like to have credible commitment. I tend to cover stocks that I own. And I actually bought some Enphase today. I bought some Enphase for 26% off. That's just me, but I bought some for 26% off in a day. That seemed like a pretty good deal, but that's just me, and I may be wrong, and I've been wrong before. But I consider this stock still one of my tier 1 stocks. I think energy is essential to the economy. It's so essential. It underlies everything we do, and this company is at the forefront of the what I call the energy independence revolution. They are at the forefront of this. They're the leading player, I believe, in solar and microinverters. So that's just me. That's not investment advice. That's just entertainment. No investment advice. Just education and edutainment. Not education either. It's edutainment, entertainment. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Thank you.